Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on Fallout from Boruto Chapter 76. And today, I want to talk to you guys about this major foreshadowing that we have in the chapter that is potentially either the biggest red herring in the entire series or the most subtle, not so subtle foreshadowing of a brand new Otsutsuki coming to the series. When you really sit down and think about it, it makes a lot of sense for there to be another Otsutsuki foreshadow here. We just got introduced to Shibai Otsutsuki, and we heard absolutely nothing about his partner, but we know that the Otsutsuki move in pairs. Kawaki in the last manga chapter directly asked Amato if by placing his karma seal that contains the DNA of Amato's daughter onto that Delta clone, if this DNA, if this karma might result in the birth of a new Otsutsuki, to which Amato directly said he can't be sure of because there's no precedent for this due to the fact that no one has ever tried to do what Kawaki's being asked to do for Amato's sake. Out of everyone in Konoha right now, Kawaki is the one person who should be hearing Amato's words and raising an eyebrow. Nobody else knows more about karma and the pitfalls of karma and the cursed burden that the karma has on someone than Kawaki besides Amato, and even then, due to Kawaki having lived with karma for so many years on end, there are things about the karma seal that only Kawaki would know for certain that Amato can only make an educated guess on. If Amato is right that placing the karma on Delta will bring back his daughter, this does further the dual job of making Amato a more sympathetic character while also making him utterly detestable to those who are paying attention to his character in the series, which also directly lines up with Kawaki's fear of a new Otsutsuki. You might be asking how so? Well, allow me to explain. Here's the thing, by even making this suggestion, Amato is further showing that how he views human life, it isn't too different from how the Otsutsuki view human life. It exists purely to satisfy his needs, nothing more, nothing less. Otsutsuki think the same way. They don't think twice about planting the karma on someone, knowing full well that if they're compatible with their seal, the human soul is erased from existence and their genetic material is overridden by the Otsutsuki, who then in turn are reborn using that person's body. It's a fate worse than death. It's actually cruel when you think about it. Amato is suggesting to have the karma seal of Kawaki, which is loaded with the genetic material of his daughter, and he wants to have it implanted on Delta, and that is the most Otsutsuki-like thing that you can do, and this is potential foreshadowing for a new Otsutsuki. Now you might say, what's the big deal here? Delta is his daughter. In particular, she's the clone of his daughter. However, Delta has her own personality. She has her own desires. This goes back to the whole thing about cloning and why Naruto had a little bit of a problem when he saw the Shin clones, why Sasuke gave Orochimaru a look when he told Sarada we can test the whole thing about clones right here, why Boruto felt some kind of way when he saw Orochimaru had clones of Mitsuki. It's the same argument here. She's no more Abaki than Kashin Koji was. They share the same genetics, but they're their own persons who have their own soul. Amato viewed Kashin Koji as being discardable, despite the fact that Kashin Koji was beginning to show signs of having Jiraiya's memories seep through his own body. He was just merely a means to an end to destroy Jigen and weaken Ishiki. Delta is a means to an end in order to revive Abaki. It's the cold and calculated decision that is made by a selfish desire that is similar to the Otsutsuki, and by having Kawaki ask this question, will doing this end up making a new Otsutsuki? It further hammers in that parallel, which is even if it's for the right reasons, it's morally corrupted just as the Otsutsuki are morally corrupted in what they do, but it also further feeds into one of the themes of Boruto, which is just science fit in this world of ninjas. We're seeing the desperation of a father to bring his child back to life, but desperation by someone so smart can also lead to unintended consequences that one might not have thought of beforehand. Thus, this is the problem of Amato that he now has on his hands. He's in uncharted territory due to his desperation to bring his daughter back to life. Kawaki, on the other hand, has a fresh set of eyes due to him being detached from the heart of the situation, but also due to him being distrustful of the karma seal and Amato as he is. This means that either Kawaki made an observation that Amato hadn't thought of yet, or he made an observation and so too did Amato make the same observation and come to the same conclusion, but Amato is so desperate that he doesn't care any longer. The only thing that matters is bringing his daughter back to life. If Kawaki's fear is right, that this does birth a new Otsutsuki, it continues the pattern of two Otsutsuki being shown to us. Otsutsuki move in pairs. They're introduced in the pairs in manga format, and pairs of two, and when one is introduced into the story, the other one is soon to follow just behind them. I think there's something here to Kawaki's sphere. We just learned that Shibai left behind his body but still exists in another dimension. Shibai had to have had a partner. It's part of the clan law. There are two missing Otsutsuki. Shibai is potentially one of them, leaving only one more. However, that brings up the question, if this does result in the rebirth of a new Otsutsuki, this means Amato must have had one giant oversight, or Amato is hiding something in plain sight the entire time, like most of the fandom has been suspecting ever since Amato began talking about the Otsutsuki clan. If this ends up being the case, Shikamaru is going to be the one punching the air somewhere, because he's wanted to cut Amato's head off from day one, not trusting him, viewing him as a snake, which makes a lot of sense. Someone so willing to burn comrades in order to achieve their own survival and then reveal they did this all for their own self-interest regardless of the reason isn't someone who can be trusted. They're your ally today, but they're the ones stabbing your Achilles tomorrow. Shikamaru's suspicions of Amato will be justified if this ends up being the case, especially since Momoshiki has dropped more than one warning that Amato cannot be fully trusted, and before Ishiki was killed off, Ishiki had started coming to the same conclusion as Momoshiki, that Amato was a sly fox who needed to be killed. Two beings with thousands of years of life experience who've eaten numerous chakra fruits and updated their bodies with that genetic material from the chakra fruits. They looked at Amato and said, this guy's a problem that needs to be monitored, or in the case of Ishiki, this guy's a problem, he needs to be monitored, he needs to be killed off when the time comes. Either way, Amato being the scientist who opens Pandora's box by messing with alien technology he doesn't truly understand, or being a villain who's been built up in the shadows right in front of us, all while pretending to be a good guy who isn't a threat, is something that works either way to justify the new Otsutsuki narratively. Given he's experimented with Shibai's DNA, can we say with certainty he didn't implant Otsutsuki DNA into Delta in order to enhance her when he said he was going to make this ally better than before? That alone wouldn't make her immune to Ada, simply because it's not her own genetic material and that Otsutsuki DNA doesn't replace her DNA. But if we learn that this is how Amato enhanced Delta through transplanting DNA to the clone to give it more powers, if adding the Karma Seal and triggering the cycle of rebirth happens and it makes a new Otsutsuki, that's a grave miscalculation made by Amato, and he comes across as being that kid who was playing too close to the oven, and he didn't just burn his hand, but in the process he ended up burning down the whole house. I'm going to be curious to see if there are any merits to Kawaki's sphere about there being another Otsutsuki, or if that's just something that Kawaki's just being overcautious of. But in the meantime, I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts on this. While you think that over, click here to watch my Boruto Chapter 76 review if you haven't already, or click here for my Chainsaw Man chapter review on Kryptonian Saiyan.